good evening, and welcome back. We are back again with another preview to another match, Premier League preview. Premier League is back, and tonight I have two very, very special guests with me today. Make sure you smash up them likes, peeps, and we'll get straight into it. So, of course, my first guest. Love talking to this guy. Very, very knowledgeable. Fellow Arsenal fan. He's become a little bit of a regular on the channel as well. And yeah, let's get him on. African Gooner, how you doing, mate?
Doing well. Excited for tomorrow. Hopefully, we can get our fifth win on the bounce. Things are looking quite positive for us right now, regardless of transfers. So yeah, really excited to see if we can put more winning runs together. Because I mean, as Arsenal fans, that's all that we care about, right? Is to win matches.
Exactly. And of course, we will talk a little bit about the transfer window as well, a little bit later on. And my next guest, of course, it's an Arsenal Crystal Palace preview. We could not do this tonight without getting a Crystal Palace fan on the channel, making his debut on the channel. We have Tristan. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm alright. Looking forward for tomorrow's game. Got a good feeling that we might actually win again at the Emirates for once. So it's quite looking forward to it. To be fair.
Good. Yeah, like you say, our record against Crystal Palace is a little bit peak, really, isn't it? You want to be a bit of a bogey team for us, 100%. So, my first question to you guys, I know it's an Arsenal Crystal Palace preview, but my first question is, what have you guys made of the Premier League season as a whole so far? I'm going to start with you first, African Gooner.
Cool. Well, I mean, I think we all know as fans who watch, games of different teams for the last few seasons. I think we've understood as the top dogs. I would say Arsenal, one of the top dogs in the league. We've understood and we've seen and obviously experienced how this league is just it's the best league in the world. The shittiest team can beat the best team on any single day. So many upsets. The physicality, the talent. Even with the smaller teams, and as more money has been pumped into the Premier League with TV money, everyone can play against everyone, right? So I think this season, unlike other seasons, has been a bit more volatile, especially I think since now there's about 8 to 9 teams really that can compete for that top 4 position, and then by compete I mean also be second and third place to 8th place. There isn't that many points differential between all those teams. Yes, Liverpool and Man City, I would say, and even Manchester United are far ahead of everyone else. But I still think that, from 4th to like 11th or 12th, those places are all up for grabs. So it's really interesting season. Having the games back to back or, less stoppage time between the games makes it more exciting for fans. And it also shows how much talent and fitness you have to be able to continuously play at the top of your game in all these matches, right? Premier League got to be putting the points on the board for every game. So really exciting season, and I'm really hopeful to see what happens in the second half of the season. I think personally there's going to be a lot of surprises in terms of the movement of the table.
Yeah, definitely.
Tristan, what have you made of the season so far?
It's been a mad season. You had teams like Sheffield United last season were competing for Europe. They finished in the top 10. Now they're rock bottom with only 1 win out of 18 games. It's really bizarre, to be fair, and shocking for fans like Crystal Palace, even you lot as well. And then you have teams like Arsenal. You won the first game of the season against Fulham, top of the league, and now you went down to 15th. And now you have teams like Man United, who got beaten 6-1, beaten 3-1 by us boys Palace and that. And now they're top of the league out of nothing. It's that tight. Anyone could win it. Leicester could win it. Southampton could even get top 4 and win it still. Teams just need to be more consistent overall. Win about 8 games on the bounce, then that's a title winning team. Not lose like 2 and then win 2 and then draw, and then it's just been a summary of the season overall.
It's so hard to be consistent when there's so many good
Yeah,
things.
exactly.
I don't think it's like a team that isn't able to be consistent. I just think there's just too many good teams now.
Yeah, too
with
many.
Really good players that can just
Exactly.
just take a game by the scruff of the neck and get their team points, and it's like, what the hell just happened there, right? So yeah, it's been quite interesting.
Yeah, for real.
So, you sort of mentioned it a little bit there. What do you think has affected, well, mostly the league this season? Because last season Liverpool ran away with it. The season
Yeah,
before that, it was
Top
Liverpool
Man
and
City.
Manchester City running away with it. So what do you reckon has made it so tight this season? Do you think the fact that there's no fans in the stadium and
Yeah,
with
yeah, for us as well. I mean,
yeah,
you get teams like us, Crystal Palace. We got some of the best supporters in the Premier. The home still in with the drum. They create an atmosphere throughout the ground. They've gone, and for example, if we go a goal down at home, even away, there's no fans to just bring you up, to just give you a bit of an upbeat, to get you back in the game mentally as a player. It's depressing, and then it goes from 1-0 to 2-0 to 3-0. Prime example, when we lost 7-0 home to Liverpool, the fans were there. They would never have allowed that result. When you lost 1-0 home to Burnley and 3-0 home to Villa, you fans would have absolutely turned on the players, but the players wouldn't care anyway because they're Arsenal. But with Crystal Palace, it's a different matter, in my opinion, honestly. Yeah, for real.
would you agree with that assessment there, African Gooner?
I would agree. I would agree somewhat. I do also think that it's just the competition, right? I think also the science in the game is at a different level than it was a few years ago. I think the amount of stats and research and the technology and what we can do these days, analyzing specific moments in each game and just everything about the game is just at another level that now all these teams are competing, right? It's not just about the quality in the team. I think it's also around the science and the technology of the game is changing where the lower teams have the same technologies as the best teams and they're able to kind of see and analyze in the same way that the top 6 teams can. Therefore they're more prepared in games, so that makes the league more competitive.
Of course, yeah, I agree with both what you've both been saying there. Yeah, I think exactly the same. Fans is a massive effect on everything, and like you say, teams are getting better. Certain teams can buy players of quality. Players want to come and play in the Premier League. So you got top quality players at what you would say would be low opposition. I'll take, like, for example, Wolves. They have some top quality players at their club. There's no question about that. So let's get straight into it. Let's get into Arsenal Crystal Palace, and let's talk about Crystal Palace. Narrowly lost in the FA Cup against Wolves. It was
Pathetic,
an absolute
really.
wonder strike by
That guy. I mean, he knows how to play his game, and that no one closed him down. Players looked like they were afraid to close the geezer down when he had the ball. He's that like De Gea ran in. He ran into David De Gea. What was it, like a week ago when Man United played Wolves, and De Gea literally got injured afterwards. That's how tough the guy is as a player. I mean, the goalie had no chance, and overall, it was just a really poor game. Wolves defended pretty well. We didn't really want to play for the game, to be honest. In my opinion, we didn't care. That's the way I see it, honestly.
I think that's his first goal in, well, just
A year, over a year,
yeah,
around it, yeah, honestly, and all teams as well.
But obviously it's Premier League, so we're going to talk about the last Palace game in the Premier League, a 2-0 victory at home to Sheffield United. I mean, you started the season really, really well. A 1-0 victory at home to Southampton, and then a 3-1 away victory at Old Trafford.
Yeah, it's a good win, honestly. Really.
What do you make of Palace so far this season? I mean, they've been a bit inconsistent, really.
Yeah, I was going to say that. It's been the same problem every single season. We had the same problems as we've had done for like the last 5 years. We're relying on Wilfred Zaha. Every time the guy doesn't play, we can't score goals, we can't win games, we keep losing badly. It's depressing. When he's injured for a long time as well, we could go like a month or two without a win. You know what I mean? Prime example was a few years back under Roy when he first took charge. We lost our first 7 games. 6 of them Zaha never played, and we were just getting absolutely battered. It was just relegation. If he wasn't in that team, we would have been relegated, God knows, probably like 3 years ago. He is so crucial. Him and Eze as well recently, who scored a wonderful goal. If you saw my reaction on the live stream, you could have tell how much it meant to me as a Palace fan and how much it meant for a player like Eze, because it was a brilliant run. And he's been one of our best players this season. Him and Zaha combined, definitely. For real. It's just...
Yeah, 100%. What's your assessment of Crystal Palace this season, Gooner?
Yeah,
I feel like it's not only this season. I think Crystal Palace is somewhat very like Arsenal. You know, they can show up on any day, and I think they can beat any team really, and they can compete, and then they can also just completely flop and lose like they did to Liverpool. Right? That's the thing with. And I think that's because you rely on specific players like Arsenal do. You know, you have those 2-3 players. For us, for example, it used to be Sanchez and then now Aubameyang. I think it's the same with Crystal Palace. You depend on just 2 or 3 players that really is carrying the team in the attacking sense. And when they don't perform, the rest of the team just doesn't perform, right? And that's how you see Arsenal can't create anything. It's because we're just missing that player, right? At least, you know, in Zaha, you have that player who's there. At Arsenal, we don't really have any player like Zaha who can just take the whole game. You know, we have younger kids, but I mean, Zaha is a different level, man. This guy's been playing the Prem for many, many years. You know, his physical attribute, his hunger to want to win every single game, and just his skills. I mean, he's talent, right?
He got promoted as well, yeah.
So yeah, man, I think that's my assessment of Crystal Palace. I think just they'll continuously have an up and down season and have an up and down team, just like Arsenal, until the owners and the transfer business is done, where you have really decent players in every single position. I feel like Crystal Palace doesn't have that, and Arsenal don't either, really.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the same thing for us. You know, 1 point we're just winning one game, and it's like Roy in, and they're praising him. And then we lose 3 or 2 on the bounce. It's Roy out. I'm not gonna lie, that when we lost 7-0 to Villa, I said to you before this live stream, and that we went and did the same thing against Aston Villa, went with the same team, same tactics, got battered. And the fact we didn't just get battered, we lost to 10 men. I was angry. A lot of Palace fans are calling for his head. We needed a response. We needed to sort our defence out, which we have done in our last 2 Premier League games. We played Leicester. We probably should have won that 1-0. 1-0 up with 8 minutes to go. Disappointing to lose the lead. Sheffield United was a must-win. If we would have lost that, then we would have been in some serious trouble and deep water. We couldn't get ourselves out. So it's a good job we did get that win overall.
Yeah. So, what is the aim for Crystal Palace? I mean, you've been in the Premier League for a few years now, consistently finishing in and around the mid-table. How do you get to the next step of possibly, say, Europa League football? What needs to change at your club to get you there?
Well, one thing I say the same thing every year. Even my dad says it as well. We need an owner who can come into the club with a lot of money. And until that happens, we're just going to be floating around in the relegation zone, scrapping in around in the mid-table season after season, being inconsistent. Nothing's going to change. We can rely on Zaha to pull us out the hat now and then, and Eze as well sometimes, and the odd player like Benteke to get a few goals now and then. But when you end up with players like Batshuayi who are just crooked and just stand around deluded, just getting caught offside more times than they are touching the ball and making decent runs, and ex-players like Shamak, Adebayor, it says it all, really. I don't think we were pretty poor a few years back, and we've gotten better with the quality of players we put in the squad, like Eze, Butland, who else? Vicente Gaito, our number 1 goalkeeper as well. Players who have got a bit more pride and hunger, a little bit younger, and are just a bit more up to scratch with the Prem, in my opinion. So overall,
Yeah, I was going to say in response to that, Tristan, I don't think it's only about having a rich owner, because as you can see, we have a rich owner, and that's not the solution. It's having a rich owner that wants to, 1, win, continuously win games, and 2, maybe has passion for Crystal Palace, right? You don't want an owner that doesn't know the history of Crystal Palace or the history of the league. So it needs to be a combination of both, and it's really hard to find that sweet spot of an owner that's going to have all of that, right? So yeah.
100%. So we're going to move on and obviously talk about Arsenal. And we're going to start it off, African Gooner, right? We've got to start here, surely. News broke today that Balogun has signed a pre-contract with RB Leipzig. What do you make of that?
To be honest, I'm not surprised. Just there really isn't much to say, man. Just bad recruitment, like continuously, and it's like embarrassing as a fan to see just how many occurrences, holding. Just so many examples as an Arsenal fan that you can bring up that you say, what the F happened here, and it's just happening way too many times to the point where I'm kind of sick and tired of talking about it. It's just embarrassing, like. I'm not upset really. I'm upset. Obviously, we're losing a talent, but I don't blame the player because if I were the player and I was looking around, the club's a mess, man, and he's not going to get the opportunities that he's gonna, that he's gonna want to improve. The one thing I would say is that I would have hoped that in the contract we had a buyback clause or we had a first, like one of those things that they put in the contract. So we could have potentially brought him back in the next like 2-3 years when we figure out, like I said, Aubameyang and Ketia situation. We would have needed another player. And as we keep saying, players, I know it's coronavirus, but players keep becoming more and more expensive. So, we keep being cheap and expect in the future we're going to do the business. But by the time we actually start really wanting to do the business, all the players are going to cost like 40-50 million. Even like average players are going to cost a lot of money, and we're not going to be able to buy all the players that we need because it's just going to cost like 40-50 million per player. And as we both know, we need 6 to 7 players to really change this team to make it even top 4 material. I'm not even talking about a league title. I'm just talking about top 4. So it's just embarrassing that we keep making these mistakes. I'm sure in a couple of years, this kid is going to be, 15-20 million in value. And listen, for a club like Arsenal, 20 million is a lot of money. I mean, we spent 20 million on Saliba and he doesn't even play in the team, right? We're not a team that can afford to buy players for 20-25 million that are not even in the squad, right? That's just not us. So that's my thoughts. Just embarrassing.
Okay. And Tristan, I don't know whether you've seen Balogun play for Arsenal. What do you make of Balogun?
Balogun, he was a very unpromising player. I'm disappointed he left because you got players like Aubameyang this season who've been off it. I mean, 5 goals compared to the amount he's got in recent seasons and last season. You had a young player who's starting to really just find his stride and is doing pretty well in the team for the Europa League and that. And it's just a shame you got to let him go, making the same mistakes as what we have done as Crystal Palace. But Arsenal, you do it every year. Sell a young player, and now look what happens. I guarantee you, maybe in 5 years' time, he'll turn out to be a Serge Gnabry or something. That's the kind of player I think that I see in him personally, and I think would possibly be a decent outcome for him.
We haven't seen enough of him, to be quite honest. Realistic Arsenal fans will tell you that there is a little bit of overhype, but we can definitely see something, right? And the problem is we want to get rid of all these Wenger players, regardless of if they played or not under Wenger. All these players are from the past era. I want to shift completely to a new Arsenal where I don't recognize any player from a Wenger era, regardless of if they're average, good, or bad. I wouldn't mind bringing in a Willian that's crap because at least we tried something different. I'm not happy with it, but at least it's something different that we haven't seen over and over. And Ketia is never going to be a top player for Arsenal. I don't understand why we have West Ham who need a striker right now. That's 10-15 million for us. Keep Balogun, let him grow into the team. If he doesn't play within the next 24 months or 12 months, then he leaves. Cool. We at least get cash for him. Right now, we're just going to lose value in Nketiah because in a year or two, his value is going to go down and no one's really going to buy him except for a championship team. And then, you're getting rid of Balogun, who you're not going to get any money for. It's a lose-lose. It's not even like we're getting slapped in the face once. It's like we're getting 2 slaps. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, for real.
I've got a comment here from Red Lucifer. Nice to see you in the chat, mate. He says Fabrizio Romano tweeted that RB Leipzig has not been in contact for Balogun. Well, that's an interesting one. To be honest with you, I haven't really checked on what Fabrizio Romano has been saying. I know he said that there was up to 12 clubs that were offering him a contract, which doesn't surprise me in the slightest. From my personal perspective on the Balogun situation, I kind of feel like a bit like you, African Gooner, I don't understand at all why this kid has not had the opportunity. He came in 2 Europa League games, scored 2 goals, created an assist, and then the following week he was left at home. And it's like, honestly, I don't understand. Eddie Nketiah, we can all see, he works hard, but he hasn't got the quality to play for Arsenal Football Club. And at the end of the day, yes, just because a player works hard doesn't mean that they have the quality to play for the football club. And working hard should be a minimum expectation. You should work hard in every single game that you play. You're a professional footballer. You know what I mean?
You get paid. You
Yeah,
get paid to run your ass off.
Seems
look
to
at
me
Ozil. Look at Ozil. He gets paid like 350k a week. I know he's going, but to be paid that amount of money and just to sit on your ass and do nothing, it makes fans like you lot and me sick. It's just poor. He just doesn't. He doesn't care about the club. He's nowhere near the player he was when he joined you lot. And you look at players like Benteke and that who haven't been good for us, but at least they're earning like a decent amount of money. And recently they just started picking up their game, being on form, scoring goals. Ozil's never going to be that player again at Arsenal. He might be at another club, but he's done for you. Look, it's been like that for a year, honestly.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. But yeah, like I said, with the whole Balogun situation, it is just a massive farce, and it highlights the problems that we have at this football club. And there is more than one of them. Mikel Arteta is not the only guy, and neither's the board, to be fair. In my opinion, the biggest problem at this football club is the fan base. Yeah,
Exactly.
the fan base have accepted mediocrity for far too long. We was promised an awful lot when we knocked down Highbury and moved to the Emirates. And it has been,
It's all been
what is it
nice.
been now? Well, it's been 16 years since we moved to Highbury, since we moved to the Emirates, and we have not competed for the title once. Not once.
We did once.
The closest was the Leicester one when they won the league. That was your chance to win it, and you lot bottled it badly, honestly.
But even
we
then, that's
won that year. That was the year we had an actual chance
Exactly.
to win it.
Yeah.
We just had to
Get Leicester out of all teams, and you lot to finish second.
We were cheap. We didn't buy the players, and we couldn't compete.
Yeah,
exactly.
but again, that season
Been your
was
problem for the
very,
whole.
very poor season.
Yeah.
The whole league
You
was
think?
absolutely dreadful.
You think
Yeah.
the way you got played like back then and that compared to now, it's just like players now would not get into that Arsenal team. Even from 10 years ago when you had the likes of Van Persie, Fabregas, none of them players would get into the team right now. Like Nketiah, Lacazette, Nelson, and Pepe. They're nowhere near like consistent as the players you had a few years back. Definitely, there's one thing I would say.
Yeah.
I also wanted to mention, Brandon, that we keep saying that it's a farce, right? But I think that there's some responsibility that has to fall on Josh, because this has happened so many times that as the owner, or as the guy who's responsible for the club, he has to be seeing, right, on a monthly basis, daily basis, whatever report he's getting, that this is happening on several occasions, maybe about 6 to 8 times now that this has happened, between different players that we've had over the last 2 or 3 years. So at some point there needs to be a red flag that is, put up, and the owner is like, okay, he makes a phone call to Edu and Vina, and he's like, what's going on? Why does this keep occurring? And the fact that it keeps occurring means obviously they're not doing their jobs correctly. So he needs to step in, right? So it always goes back straight to the owner, regardless of how bad Edu and Arteta and whoever Vina are. I mean, it's the owner who has to hold them accountable. If he doesn't hold them accountable, this is going to continue happening. I wouldn't be surprised to hear this about Lacazette, that he doesn't want to extend his contract. Maitland-Niles, we're barely going to get any money for him. It's going to continue happening. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, 100%. Obviously, it is 4 wins on the bounce in all competitions for Arsenal. Can we extend that, or do you think Crystal Palace could be the spanner in the works? African Gooner.
I want to believe that we have turned a little bit of the corner. I was really, really upset that Martinelli got injured again. I mean, just absolutely
big blow for you, honestly.
That's the one player that I just want to see at all costs, And when he does actually get put in the team, like as a fan that really loves him and really wants to continuously see him, you're really excited whenever he gets those opportunities, right? And it was a bummer that he had to come off. I'm glad, obviously, it's not a serious injury. But listen, man, Thomas Partey is coming back into that midfield, and I think automatically that puts us into a little bit of a different stratosphere. And I think he continues to play Saka and Smith Rowe. Aubameyang has scored. It was a tap-in, but he scored, so some confidence. I think Zaha is your only hope. Benteke maybe here and there. You know how he is. Very
as well. Eze's another player you've got to be afraid of.
I think he's still raw. You know what I mean? He's like a Saka. He's only had like a certain amount of good games. It's not really consistent. You can't really call him consistent yet because there hasn't been
true
for him. So I think 2-0 Arsenal. You know, I'm quite confident. I don't think that anything will happen. If Xhaka plays, to be honest, I wouldn't be too happy. But I think overall we should have enough. You know, once we score one goal, I think the second one will come, and we'll continue on a winning trend. I see us winning all the games that we should be until we play a bigger team. Frankly,
Yeah,
that's how I feel right now.
That's a
If we
lot. Yeah,
continue with this young team, right? The
Very
Smith
confident.
Rowe, Martinelli, Saka, Tierney stays fit. You know, I'm okay even with Bellerin playing. I think we keep that front four, front five alive, and we can score goals. And Gabriel coming back in the team, Leno with that save. I mean, it's all positives right now with Arsenal, and it needs to stay that way because otherwise we go back to that dark hole we were in just a few weeks ago. And I don't want to go back there, man. I want to be positive, and I want my team to give me something to celebrate about for the rest of this lockdown, you know?
Yeah, I agree. So, right, obviously, we are both Arteta out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What would it take for you to turn back to being Arteta in?
So I wouldn't say I'm Arteta out right now. I feel like I've put one foot back into the middle because he has been winning and he's making better decisions. Ultimately, I still don't think he's the answer to win us the league. But like I know that our owners are not going to give whoever the manager is the money that we actually need. I really think we need 300 million. We need 6 like first team players to come in. So for me, regardless of if it was Arteta or not, I don't think they're being backed, right? So I think he's making the right decisions. We're winning. Ultimately, I don't care how bad we are. If we're winning every game, I won't say crap because I just want to be winning. You know, I don't care about the performance right now. So I would say for me to go back into our fully Arteta out, we would have to lose the next couple of games. We would have to make the same bad decisions in terms of who we start. I mean, if he starts playing Nketiah all of a sudden, he continuously plays Willian and Pepe, who we know are not good enough. If he starts taking out Smith Rowe and Martinelli from the team, those type of decisions that we know and we've seen already has really screwed us up and put us in the position we are in now. That's when I'm back into like, okay, this guy seriously needs to go. But on the other hand, Brandon, we also know that it's not going to happen, right? At least not until the summer. It's not going to happen, right? So there's no point of even, talking about it. Just get behind him for now while he's doing well. If some questions arise, I won't be hesitant to change my view, right? I'm not one of those fans that says, I want him in, I want him out, and that's it. No, your opinion can change the way the team evolves, right? As if the team is evolving and winning, you're naturally going to change your opinion on the team. So that's where I'm at right now. I'm a little bit in the middle. I want to see where these next couple of games go if we win. If we start losing again, obviously, I'll be back on the Arteta out train.
Okay. And Tristan, Tristan, you have a similar debate going on at Crystal Palace.
About Roy.
Bit of a Roy in, Roy out. What are you, Roy in or Roy out?
Roy out all the way. It's the same. It's just, I don't know. I'm kind of confident we will get a draw against you lot tomorrow. So I'm going to go over 1-1, like I said in my preview, which is out on my channel now. The thing is, he's always one game away from a sack, if you know what I mean. Like, we lose badly one game or don't play well and draw, like, from being 1-0 up, like, late on. It's just the pressure is going to be on him. You're going to have Palace fans who are going to be blaming players like Fernando and Luca, etc. have been dreadful for us this season. And I don't even know how some of them still even get in the team. But it's just he's always one game away from the sack. And until we can go on a good run of results, like winning like 3 on the bounce and keeping clean sheets, because we can't really keep clean sheets this season, only 2 in the Premier season, and that it's just going to be pressure left, right, and centre. And that if we do beat you lot tomorrow, which is a bit of a 50-50 chance in my opinion.
No, don't be honest. 50-50. Come on.
I'm being serious. I think we got a good record against you lot. In our last 4 games against you lot have not beaten us at all. And I'm kind of confident. We always step up our game against you lot. And I think there is a 50-50 chance of us winning. Especially against defense as well.
Yeah, the only way you're scoring is if you guys have a counter attack. And listen, Gabriel, even if Gabriel isn't playing, Mari has been really solid since he's come in. I don't like Holding, but Holding can do a job. I really feel like you guys are going to sit back and you're going to try and let Arsenal create and break you down. And it might be a case where it's kind of how our last game was in the FA Cup, where it's 0-0 till the last 10, 15 minutes. Arsenal pick up the heat. We bring on our bigger guns from the bench, and eventually we crack you open, right? That's really how I feel. I don't think you'll score tomorrow, in my opinion. But I
think we will.
Counter attack.
Yeah. I mean, I just want a good performance overall, a bit of positivity compared to the last game. That's what I'm looking for. Realistically, a draw I think is capable in our hands. a win, I still think we can get it, you know, on our day if we turn up. If we sit back and be solid, and then in the second half, if it's still 0-0, go for it. Go 1-0 up, and then we could try and get the second goal on the break, because we are good at that. And Arsenal's defence, it hasn't really been that good at all this season. And it's easy to like breach you lot at the back when you got players like Mustafi and Bellerin playing in the same team. You never know with Arteta, he could put them two back in tomorrow. No,
come on. That was what I was saying in regards to jumping back on that wagon. I mean, if this guy plays Mustafi and these guys, what do you expect as a fan, right?
When was the last time he played for you lot anyway, Mustafi?
Tristan, sorry. I think our midfield is bad, which makes our defense look bad. I don't think our defense is as bad as people really think it is. I think we've improved defensively much more over the last, season than we were before under Emery or even Arsene Wenger, right? So I think it's really the midfield, right? If you play a El Neni or a Willock or a Xhaka, I mean, I even still think if we play those guys, your midfield is better than our midfield, right? And midfield kind of dominates the game and really determines what the pace is of the game, right? So tomorrow it's really about the midfield, and that's what I said. If Thomas Partey plays for Arsenal, you guys are getting overrun because you won't touch the ball. But if Thomas Partey doesn't play tomorrow, you'll have a chance for sure.
You think? All right, fair enough. Yeah,
that's how I feel, because I feel like if we dominate the midfield, I mean, there's nothing you're gonna be.
It will be a little difficult if that happens, but we are going to get chances. We're playing you lot after all. If it was against like City, then I can understand that we might not get as many, but we always seem to score a few goals against you lot. So that's why I'm a bit positive in that. But sorry. Yeah.
I think you're too overconfident, African Gooner. I really do. We're gonna win. I'm confident. We just won 4 games. We changed the team. There's no reason we should go back to what we were, right? We have the creative incision, and Smith Rowe and Saka's playing well. And Tierney, listen, Tierney's our man. He's underrated right now, but he's really carrying our team, man. You stop Tierney, you might stop Arsenal. But it seems like no one can stop Tierney, even though he does the same move over and over again. He does it so well that you can't do anything about it. You know what he's going to do. He's going to push the ball past you, and he's going to beat you and then cross it in. And he's adding more variation to his game. And I really think tomorrow, if you don't handle Tierney, you ain't stopping us. You ain't stopping us. He's going to get one ball right on a plate for someone at some point in the game, and we'll take the lead.
Do you know something, right? I have no doubt that we can score goals.
Yeah.
With them players playing like Smith Rowe, Tierney, I worry about the other end. I really do.
That's for us. Last season, we struggled to score goals, but we were keeping a lot of clean sheets. The problem is this season, we're scoring a lot of goals, but we're letting too many in. It's just like a bit backwards and forwards for us. Just like for you lot. Unfortunately, you've got a bit more quality players compared to us lot, Palace, and money, of course, as well.
I'm having nightmares about Eze and Zaha against Hector Bellerin.
He's going to get double teamed, right? And that's when you'll see maybe a Willian being played tomorrow instead of a Pepe. Willian will do that defensive work on Zaha with Bellerin, because we cannot leave Bellerin alone with Zaha. He will.
Zaha will crucify him. Zaha will absolutely rip him to shreds. Honestly,
exactly. So it's going to have to be double team on both wings. I mean, I'm not too bad on the left wing, because I think Aubameyang and Tierney will handle Eze well on that side. But I mean, on the left side, for sure, for Crystal Palace, I think that's where you aim to hurt us. Because if Pepe, Willian, or Bellerin play, that's our weak side. You can definitely
defensively, they're not. Defensively, in my opinion, I do think Willian is better than Pepe, though. Defensively, he works a lot harder. He commits more.
Yeah, I think Pepe will start. But if Partey plays, again, he helps into that defensive, being able to cut that ball before it gets to Zaha. Right? If we don't let Zaha get the ball, we shouldn't be worried. We know, you should know this as a Crystal Palace fan. I mean, everyone knows this in football. If the player isn't getting the ball, he can't hurt you, right? So we just need to have the tactics and the awareness, and I'm hoping that Arteta can pull a masterclass in tactics and figure out a way to prevent Zaha from really getting involved in the game. We've seen him do this, by the way, against bigger teams. We have cancelled out Mo Salah and other players, so we are capable of doing it. Hopefully, we just apply ourselves tomorrow.
Maybe a lot might underestimate him, but you never know.
Do you know the other player that worries me in the Crystal Palace side as well? And this is always because he turns into a prime fucking Iniesta when he's playing against us. And that is, if he'll come up.
Milivojevic. Oh, he's been rubbish this season. He hasn't even been. He's been nowhere near the same player he was like a couple of years ago.
He's getting old. Exactly.
He's getting on. He's been.
I guarantee though, if you get a penalty, he's putting it away.
Yeah, obviously he's got. That's all he can do this season. He hasn't had one pen. So Har's been taking all the pens for us because he hasn't even been in the team, but he's not been good enough. Do you know what I mean?
He,
But from the penalty spot, that's all he's good at. That's all he's good at, just kicking a ball
he's a
on
solid
the
player, though.
kicking the ball in the net. Sorry, yeah.
He's a solid player, though. I would say he's a decent, like he's a consistent performer. I think he's better than Xhaka and El Neni, to be honest. I'd take him over either of those two. So I think that he's just having a down form. And also when your entire team is not playing well, as you can see, even the likes of Aubameyang and stuff, they also cannot continuously play at a high level. So maybe he's just having a dip in form, which is good for us because he does like to play really well against us. So hopefully tomorrow he doesn't put in a really good performance.
Yeah, hopefully.
Right. So we're going to move on a little bit, and we're going to have a bit of fun now. Now, I don't know whether you would have seen this, Tristan, but I know African Gooner certainly has because he shared it on his Twitter.
Yeah.
The guy, Adrian Durham, TalkSport, he came out and he said,
I think I've seen it. No, I haven't seen it.
Kieran Tierney is not one of the top left backs in the Premier League. In fact, he's not even better than Van Aanholt. So, I've got the question for you guys.
Kieran Tierney's 10 times better than Van Aanholt. That's an easy one. Van Aanholt can't even pass a ball straight, let alone cross. The problem is, he's a left back, but the guy can't defend. He generally cannot defend. Even when he goes forward, he can't pass straight. Like I said, he can't cross. He's either offside. He's a mess.
He's very young and article, right? So he needs a lot of experience and training. I think one day he could be a good left back, but I mean he's still a long way from there, right? I mean Tierney, in terms of the games that he's experienced, I mean he's played Champions League, bro. It's just a different ball game, right? And I think there's a difference in professionalism. I feel like if you look at them personally, I feel like Patrick would be more of like I don't want to say like not a party, you know what I mean? He feels very relaxed. Like in terms of professionalism, I feel like Kieran Tierney is like a professional guy, whereas Patrick, you'll see him at the club and stuff. You know what I mean? He's that type of guy. So
yeah, exactly. That's the way I see him on the pitch. The way he's performing.
You don't find many players like this anymore who just consistently just focus on improving themselves and want to play the best football. And they don't really care about the money, Tierney doesn't care about how much he earns. He just wants to play because he loves to play. And once he commits to a team, like he falls in love with that team, regardless of who they are, and he gives up.
Like Eze for us, he's like that. He just loves the club. His heart's in it. He's always wanted to play with Zaha and play for Palace. He didn't even go that far from the ground, I don't think.
Yeah, and for me, really, I think I've been calling since we were gonna sign Kieran Tierney. I did some research on him, obviously, looking up the YouTube highlights reel and stuff, and I fell in love immediately when I looked into him and started watching him because that was the type of player that I wanted. I think that he is top 3 left backs, if not in the Premier League, in the world right now. He is that good, and he's really hitting his top form right now. This is his top form. As an Arsenal fan, this is the best I've seen Tierney play, and I still think he can take it a couple, maybe 1-2 levels up. And if you add more, better players in terms of a cam and stuff, Tierney's finding that cam. Imagine Bruno Fernandes in the Arsenal team. You're seeing Tierney set him up for top right, top left finishes. We don't have that player in Arsenal to do that. So Tierney becomes more of a weapon as well as Arsenal get better and get more creative and more mobile players automatically. And I think you see Tierney keep becoming better. But right now, absolutely incredible. I mean, that solo goal that he scored, wow. On his weaker foot as well. I mean, to be able to do that is just, that shows real talent. That was like a Ibrahimovic or Alexis Sanchez goal. You're making that.
It was a good finish.
So top left back for me, and I'm really happy we have him. I think in terms of the mistakes we're talking about contracts and recruitment, that's something we cannot do with Tierney. I say every season give him a new contract and figure that conversation out. Don't even wait 2 seasons. Every season, sit at the end of the season and figure out the contract if it needs to be extended and stuff. Because I think we bought him for about 25 million. Right now, he's easily a 40-45 million left back. We've already doubled our money on him. And I see his value exponentially rising.
Would you say he's better than Andy Robertson this season?
This season, I would say yes, but I think overall not so much because this is like only his first really breakout season. Although we know he's capable, I think in 2 years when he continues to do this for Arsenal, then you can say with your chest that he's better than Robertson on any day.
Yeah,
but
true.
in the current form,
to the top 4.
Yeah.
Okay. I have one more for you, which will probably be a bit more of a debate. We can all agree there that Kieran Tierney is miles better than Van Aanholt. I don't know
definitely.
what Durham's been looking at. He needs to go back to Specsavers and get some stronger glasses, I think. But before we get into the next one, which I think we will probably all have a little bit of a debate on, I'm just going to read a few of these comments out. Red Lucifer says 2-1 to Arsenal, but 1-1 if Hecky B starts. Zaha and Eze are going to destroy him. He also says it depends on who's the centre-back pairing for Arsenal. If Holding is playing, sure, Arsenal will leak a goal, in my opinion. Mari and Gabriel have to start together. And Mag49 says we haven't beaten Palace in 3 years.
Yeah, but that's due to our own faults, right? We've really messed up games against Palace, and specifically in the last two years or 2 seasons, we've had really effed up games against Palace. One where Granit Xhaka gives away a penalty under Emery, and we give away our spot in the Champions League, and obviously the next one where Xhaka gets a red card, and we know what happened with that, right? So, yeah, Crystal Palace definitely is a team that's in our head, as in when we play them, there's always something that ends up happening in that game, right? Kind of how the Brighton feels right now. So if I were Crystal Palace, I'd be banking on that. That's your hope of, like, getting into the mental side of the game and then having a chance of, rattling the Arsenal players.
Okay. So the next one, and this one could be a debate, might not be. Who is better?
I knew that. That's just, I knew you lot were gonna ask that. So I'm gonna go with him. So is 10 times better than Pepe. Scores more goals. His end product and his finishing's a lot better. There you go. Said it. What do you lot think about it? Because Pepe is just one of these players who just blows hot and cold. Has that quality in that one game. Then 8 games, he just disappears. Gets suspended from headbutting the player. Says it all, really. Zaha's got 8 goals this season, whereas Pepe, I think he's got like 2, maybe 3. I'm not sure. He hasn't scored many from what I've seen.
Okay. African Gooner.
You know how I feel on this. Yeah, Pepe is crap, man. Crap. And the price tag is 100% a factor of that. And people always say, don't look at the price tag. But I'm sorry, man. The price tag determines how much you should play. The more expensive a player is, the more you naturally expect from him, right? If you pay an employee a higher salary than someone else, you obviously have higher expectations for that employee to do more work and at a higher level, right? And that's what we expected from Pepe. You're talking about 72 million. That's world-class material money. You're paying money for a world-class player that starts every single game without a doubt, never is on the bench. And our 72 million player can't even play consistently in the first team. Deservedly so, by the way. I'm not disagreeing. He shouldn't be in the first team because he's not good enough. I really wanted Zaha. I've wanted Zaha for a long time, and I really feel like people underrate Zaha. If Zaha was in a bigger team, he would be way better. And I feel like he's also been at Crystal Palace for too long, to the point where, you know what I mean? His love might have died down a little bit. His passion. Sorry, like the best of players, man. If you're not playing with other best players, at some point you give up. Listen, he's playing with Remy, or he's playing with that French striker. What's his name again? Your striker, not Benteke, the other one.
Batshuayi, the Belgian one.
No, not Batshuayi, the other French African one.
Oh, Ayew, Jordan. Yeah.
Ayew, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, people like that, right? Like, you can't blame him. I think he's at another level than those players. So I think, especially last season when he wanted to leave, and then you guys didn't let him leave because you asked for so much money, I think he kind of dipped in form and passion. He didn't really play to the full of his, abilities. And he also was injured as well, right? But I still think he's better than Pepe. I take him at Arsenal any day.
Yeah, the problem is with Wolf, in my opinion, and a lot of Palace fans have clocked this recently as well. He doesn't work hard enough. Right, in certain games, he can pull you out the hat with like 1 goal and 1 decent assist now and then, and sometimes just can play some phenomenal football, but he loses the ball far too much. As you're sitting there as a Palace fan like myself, I focus on him. There was one game he gave the ball away at least like 10 to 15 times, and it's not good enough. If he was at a club such as Liverpool, Man City, he was at Liverpool under Klopp, and Klopp just was watching him give the ball away far too many times, he'd be dropped. He'd be like taken off quick, and that's the why he hasn't really made it, in my opinion.
My response to that is two things. One, when a player is so good that he's so much better than the rest of the team, automatically it's his responsibility, I feel, with his talent, to take the ball and try and make something happen, which is why he loses the ball a lot. So I don't think it's his fault. I think if he plays in a better team, he has to attempt less take-ons because there are better players where he can do 1-2s, and there's a better understanding, and things can happen. Like, you know what I mean? His vision can be played out much more than it is in a team like Crystal Palace. So one, he trusts his teammates much more to give him and put him in better positions. So he loses the ball way less. And then two, as I said, I think in terms of working hard, like, you know, not all players can give 110% every game. As I said, like, when he looks around, I'm sure he loses motivation. You know, he probably works hard 3-4 games, and then he's like, you know, screw it. Like, I'm not going to work my ass off if the rest of the team is crap. And that happens
a lot of people do rely on him. I will agree with that. He's just, we rely on him far too much, and I think he does get fed up overall. You know, everyone always passes him the ball. And one thing I get annoyed about as well, watching Palace, is we don't give it to Eze enough. We always either give it to Zaha, or we either just pass the ball backwards and sideways, and it just never works out well. We just need to be a bit more creative and have a bit more charisma as a team. If we want to move on as a club, if we want to do well this season, still finish in that top 10, maybe even somehow get Europa League, we need to just sort of rely on other players like Benteke, like Eze, like Townsend, not just Zaha. Because it does get pretty frustrating for me and annoying that we've got to do it every season, you know, for the last 5 years.
Okay. So you boys are saying Zaha.
Any day.
Yeah, definitely. 100%.
For me, I agree. Zaha all day long. I think it's a tough one though, because Nicolas Pepe, for me, he has more quality and he has a higher ceiling.
How so? How does he have more quality?
He has better quality than Wilfried Zaha. We just don't see it, you know. I don't think Nicolas Pepe is suited to the Premier League.
No, I think definitely not. Nowhere near as good as how he was at France, honestly.
I think he's too predictable. He's too one-footed. What I like about Wilfried Zaha is he will take a man on. He will run over plays and whip balls in. He'll take shots on goal, pot shots on goal. You never see that from Nicolas Pepe.
No.
You know, ever.
Doesn't
and
yes,
I do think there is potential there that can be unlocked, but I just don't think it's going to get unlocked at Arsenal. And if it was me, I'd be looking to sell him in the summer. And I know you're not going to get your full £72 million back from him, but at least a little bit, and then we can go and invest in the squad elsewhere. But yeah, for me, Pepe is an absolute waste. And yeah, Wilfried Zaha all day.
The way I see it, Brandon, is if you're a top player and you're talking about elite baller, right? 72 million. I don't care what league you're playing in, man. You cost 72 million. You should be so good that you can play in any single league. That's the type of money we're talking about, right? And Pepe, I don't think it's just the Premier League. I think any league you play him in, he's going to be the same. I've been watching him. You know, he has a lot of skills, but he's one of those players that, you know, he does, you know, around the world, and he does all these skills, but he's not actually moving forward. He's doing stepovers and stuff like Ronaldo used to do, but he's staying in the same spot, you know, like even Neymar, they do all these flair things, but at least they move the ball forward and they're actually doing it with something. Whereas Pepe, he does it, but he's staying in the same spot, and he either goes backwards because he can't beat the man, or he just dribbles himself out of play. Like, that's not, like, you can see there's raw talent, but in terms of finished article or even anything near the finished product, nowhere near it. He has such a far way to go. He can't even get shots on target or even on his left foot. I mean, how many games does he just
on his debut? I remember
off target? No power, no corner, no accuracy. You know, he keeps trying to scoop the ball when he's in the penalty box when he should be, you know, more direct. Just take the shot. He dribbles too much. Sometimes he dribbles himself out of a good position. You know, and that's really frustrating as an Arsenal fan. You're looking at a 72 million player who cannot do those basic things. That's just embarrassing, man. That's embarrassing. So for me, it's nothing to do with the Premier League. Yes, I think he would do a little bit better in other leagues, but nowhere near a 72 million player, nowhere near a world class, winger. He's slightly above average. That's what I'll give him. That's about it. He's probably worth 40 million tops, and we paid like almost double his market value. And as you said, Brandon, I'd sell him as well. I'd sell him. We cannot be continuously giving these players chances. He's had a season and a half. We've seen how bad he is. We've seen his limit, what his limits are. Yes, he can become good in the next 3-4 years, but we don't have 3-4 years to keep giving these players and hoping that they're going to be the next best thing. We need to get rid of these guys and buy someone like, Tarkowski or someone someone that is reputable, and what you're going to get from them every single game, regardless of if it's above average or below average. You're going to know that it's an average performance. Like Tierney, that even if he's really bad, it's his bad is like a 6 out of 10, right? Whereas Pepe, it's like a 2 out of 10 or a 3 out of 10. And we need more players even if they have bad games, they're still at a 6 out of 10. That's what makes a great team, and that's why Liverpool is still in this title race. They're not playing as the Liverpool we saw last season, but even though they're not playing that well, they're still incredible team, and that's what Arsenal strives to be, and every team strives to be, really. Even Crystal Palace should be,
Yeah, exactly. I can say every year as well.
Yeah. Okay. Have you got anything to add to that, Tristan?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's just when you see a player like Pepe come along on his debut, and he had a one-on-one, I think, against Liverpool, and he missed it. It was just like, no, this is not the right signing for Arsenal. You know what I mean? It was at Anfield actually last year, and then it took him about, what was it, like a month and a bit to score his first, 2 months to actually score a goal from open play for Arsenal. We should be in that team. I know it would take him a long time to adapt for the Prem, but as the African Gunner said, 72 million is a big asking price. And if you're not performing to your standards of the first season, you're not going to succeed in this league. It's one of the toughest leagues in the world. Do you know what I mean? We had problems with players like Max Meyer for Crystal Palace. He's never really settled in. We got him on a free, but we know he can play. He's got good quality, but just never fitted in for us. And that's the problem. Some players just adapt to it quickly. Other players like Pepe just takes them too long, and time's just running out. Well, time has already run out for him, in my opinion.
You know what? He's not as fast as I thought he was going to be. He seemed to be one of those. He isn't that fast when I see him. I mean, he can't beat a player. And even Aubameyang, I mean, a couple of games ago, he was one-on-one sprinting with someone, and he didn't even get there. And I was like, how? Like, it's just not possible. So even Aubameyang is losing speed. And then Pepe's skill locker, if you had him on FIFA, I mean, what is this guy's rating out of 5 stars? Because it has to be 3, because this guy doesn't have that many skills, man. He pulls out the same 2-3 skills every single game. Like, he doesn't have a De Bruyne or a Mahrez kind of repertoire where he can pull something, even a Ziyech, any of these skillful players, he doesn't have that, really. And I'm really disappointed by that, because I think I expected him to be one of those players that could dribble, through the legs, one-on-one, bang, at least shot on target. And he can't do that, which means he just doesn't have it, right? And you wait a season and a half, people keep saying you're going to see the best of Pepe. It's already been over 12 months. Like, he's not going to all of a sudden start doing these things, So regardless of how good his confidence is, when his confidence is sky high, he can bang it in the top left corner, top right corner, but that's not good enough for a world-class player for me.
Yeah, you got to do a lot more. You got to work harder for players as well.
For everything.
Yeah, and defend as well. You got to defend as a team, and he doesn't commit enough defensively.
Yeah.
For example, Willian obviously is the opposite. He's poor going forward, but defensively he's 10 times better than Pepe by a mile, for what I've seen.
And the other thing I wanted to mention is crossing.
And Arsenal, yeah.
The crossing is atrocious. I mean, he can't cross.
Yeah,
he can't cross.
Generally can't cross as well.
Okay.
Too many negatives.
So we're going to move on to the lineups, and we'll go.
I got about 6 minutes, so if we can run through this, because I got to head out.
Yeah, no problem. We'll go first with the Arsenal lineup. No worries. So, what's your lineup for tomorrow?
My lineup is as follows. This is my lineup, not what I think Arteta would go with. This is what I would go with. I would put Leno in goal, obviously. We don't have much of a choice, but I'm not obviously unhappy with that decision. I think it would be great to see him. Obviously, we know the first name on the team sheet, Kieran Tierney at left back. I'm playing a 4-2-3-1. I'm playing my center back pairing. I'm playing Mari and Gabriel. I think I would play Mari on the right and Gabriel on the left because we know Mari is more of an experienced defender, so I trust him more to play on his weaker foot. And I would like to keep Gabriel in his natural position. He's younger. Let him play in his natural position. I don't want to see Holding or David Luiz. I don't think they're good enough. I think Bellerin will start, but I'd like to play Maitland-Niles. I think Maitland-Niles would be able to actually handle Zaha, and I mean, as I said, really Zaha is your danger man for me. So I play Maitland-Niles because we know that defensively he does really well against faster-paced wingers, whereas Bellerin will just get found out. So that's what I'd play in the back four. In the midfield, I play Thomas Partey. And I think Xhaka will play. I don't want him to play, but I think he will. I think that's a solid, experienced partnership in midfield. I think they're both players that have played at a high level. And then Xhaka, we saw what he did when he came in the FA Cup. He started to put some passes around. I know it was only a few minutes and it's, once in a blue moon, but, El Neni, Xhaka, come on. It's kind of the Willy and Pepe discussion. There isn't much difference between these players. They're both crap, right? They're both average players. So who cares which one of them plays? I just want Thomas Partey to play. In my 10, I'm playing Emile Smith-Rowe. I think that's a given. We know no one else is really going to be taking that spot away from him. 4 games on the bounce that this kid has been playing, at a Saka level, I would say, making the impact in the team. Hopefully he can carry that on. As Arsenal fans, we shouldn't expect it to go on forever. At some point, he will have a dip in form. It's just natural. He's a kid. First time that he's starting in the Premier League for a big club like Arsenal. And then, my front three, I'm going to go with Lacazette up front. I'm going to go with Aubameyang on the left. And I'm going to go with Saka on the right. That'd be my team. And I'd bring in Willian and Pepe perhaps if we're struggling in the second half around 60th, 70th minute. If it's 0-0, Crystal Palace is just playing 11 men behind the ball, which, Roy Hodgson, sometimes he does that, right? He plays very negative football at times.
Yeah,
and,
exactly. Definitely.
That's how I would play them and see if we can grab a goal. Listen, I'd rather lose this game 1-0 and give all at it in the second half than tie 0-0. Because at this moment, tying 0-0 for me is like a loss. We need to be winning almost every single game that we're so-called supposedly supposed to win, right? So, that's my view. I think 2-0, frankly. If we get it right and we start positively, I think we'll just breeze you guys away. I'm confident. And Tristan asked Brandon, I'm quite realistic, When I think we will lose, I say we will lose, and when I think we'll draw, I'll say we'll draw. And I've been quite right in the last 2 months, although it's not really that hard when you know that you're gonna lose almost every game.
Yeah, I know what you mean, especially that run you had,
Tristan, Crystal Palace.
Sure. Yeah, so I'm going to stick with the lineup I went with in my preview. In goal, Vicente Gaita. I would put Jack Butland in for Crystal Palace, but Vicente Gaita, I mean, he's been our number 1 goalkeeper. He's played every single minute this season. If he doesn't start pulling his weight, I put Jack Butland in because he did have a good game against Wolves. We're going to move on to our defence. Tyreek Mitchell for Crystal Palace because he can actually defend, he can actually attack as well decently and run back and track back for the team and commit himself. He can cross as well, unlike Patrick Van Arsenal, which is what I'm going to call him until he can figure out how to bloody play properly. 2 centre-backs of James Tompkins and Checo Kiate. I would put KO in, but I don't think he's going to be fully fit for the game because he has been injured over the last couple of weeks at the beginning of the new year. I right back Nathaniel Klein. Midfield, in this 4-4-2 formation, on the left, I'm going to go with a Bere Blokla Eze. In the 2 defensive midfielders, I'm going to go with James MacArthur and Jaya Riedewald. And on the right, I'm going to go with Andros Townsend, who has been okay going forward, but defensively, he's been pretty decent for us. He commits for the team as well. So it's nice to have a bit of cover from an attacking player who can give his all defensively as well. And our front 2, Christian Benteke and Wilfred Zaha out on the left up front. That's the front 2, I think. That just has been pretty much on form for us this season compared to players like Batshuayi, doesn't even do anything, and Ayer for us.
Can't believe that guy still plays for you, man. I can't believe that guy still plays football, man. I don't remember the last time I saw that guy.
Yeah, I know.
That's a really bad signing. Yeah, one of those Dennis Suarez ones like Arsenal.
They probably didn't even play for you, though. Yeah. He was there half the time, to be fair. Not gonna lie. Yeah.
Okay. Where do you think the game is won and lost?
I don't know. It's one of them games that could just go sideways for either side. If we start off well and score first, it's going to be a long afternoon because every game we scored, it's been 2 years since we've been 1-0 up and lost, and that was at Anfield, and we lost 4-3 a couple of years back. So, in my opinion, I think we got to go up. It's going to be a long afternoon, and we could potentially go on to win the game. But you lot could, at the same time, could potentially just dominate the second half and equalise, and it could be a 1-1, or it could be even a 2-1 to you lot. But I'm going to go for 1-1. I think how the game's going to go is we're going to score first, and you lot are going to equalise. I'm going to stay positive, and I'm just going to try and be as realistic as I can because we always seem to turn up against you lot. And I think with the team we have now, they're going to really want to give it a go. They've got players like Zaha and that, who Emery picked Pepe over Zaha because Zaha did want to sign for you lot, and look what happened. Pepe signed.
No, Emery actually wanted Zaha, but because we had to put all the money on the table up front, that's why we ended up getting Pepe. He didn't want Pepe. That is one of the actual issues that we've had.
Oh, no wonder. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So that's how I think it's going to go.
An African Gooner. Where's the game won and lost?
Well, I called 3-0 against Newcastle, and you were telling me that like I was going a little bit overboard. And look, we won 2-0, and I told you it would be quite comfortable. And once we scored that goal, I mean, it became comfortable, right? But we struggled to get that first goal. I think we'll have similar game for me. Where we win this game is Kieran Tierney, Aubameyang, Thomas Partey, Emile Smith-Rowe, Saka. That is where we're winning this game. Where we're losing this game for me is Bellerin, Holding, David Luiz, and Leno. That is kind of a split right there. Depending on which between those two groups ends up playing better, I think that decides where the game is at. If the guys that we're expecting to do well, like Thomas Partey, Smith-Rowe, and Saka, if they play well and take over the game, I think we will win. But if we have obviously more mistakes and negatives than positives from that group, then I can see a Zaha scoring against Arsenal and celebrating and us ruining the fact that he's not playing for our team. Or Benteke, who is really a lamppost and doesn't score, for like 5-6 games, randomly scored header against Gabriel, right? So, or Remy, right? Just scoring sorry, not Ayu. I don't know why I keep saying that.
Yeah, Remy was that bad, so I understand.
Like I rate that guy. He's a poacher. He can finish goals as well. He's not the best of players, but he can finish. He can definitely finish.
Last season as well, twice. Yeah, so he loves scoring.
So yeah, that's why I see us winning the game. I really think we need to dominate the midfield. I want us to play fast. We have seen with Saka, Smith-Rowe in the team, we are transitioning the ball way faster. Xhaka and El Neni seem to be playing it forwards a little bit more, not that much, but we need to keep doing that. Keep playing forwards, keep playing fast. We play too slow. We give the other team time to settle in their shell, and then we don't have the players to actually break them down. So the only way to break that down is to play fast and, get Tierney to overlap and get that overlap and kind of abuse Tierney on that left, that left wing position, and just keep hoping that Tierney can beat his man and deliver in good crosses and have someone finish, whether it's a Lacazette or a Smith-Rowe or Saka. We know that all our players can really finish up front right now. So I think once we score that first goal, I'm sorry, Tristan, I think the game is over. If we score that first goal, the game is over for you. If you score the first goal, for sure you can get a draw or a win. We will struggle if you score first. So that's
what we need, a good start. Yeah, same for you though as well.
You definitely need to get a good start. Definitely. I think if you shock us, you might see Arsenal, go back into their shell and kind of really struggle to break it down. I think if we start positively, it'll be the other way around.
Yeah, because it did look like that against Newcastle. You won in extra time, but if that was in a Premier League match and 0-0, would have reflected good for you lot. So it was just a bit stale. Even AFTV, we saw their reaction. They were pretty frustrated overall. And it sounded like the old Arsenal yet again. So that might help us a bit, but just have to see how it is tomorrow. They'll be sticky.
Depends on the players that play, right? If we play with the young guns that we know are playing well, like if
that's Smith-Rowe and that,
I think we'll go into extra time, right? So that hopefully we see that tomorrow, right? And Tristan, as an Arsenal fan, you have to also understand that we've had such bad times that I just want my team to win, man. I just don't want to see this ugly side of Arsenal, man. I don't want to go back to that. That stuff was giving me nightmares, losing, for 2 months straight. I don't want to go back there. So I just want to continue winning at whatever cost it is, get yellow cards, play physical, break someone's leg. Listen, at this point, I don't condone that, but as an Arsenal fan right now, I want us to win games as much as we can, right? And whatever means, even if we get labeled like Manchester United and just get penalties, I take it. I just want us to continue winning because I really feel like in the summer we want to buy a new team. We need to be in Europe, and I don't see us winning Europa League or FA Cup. So I don't know what we're gonna do. We need to be looking at all three of these competitions.
We both need to be more consistent. Yeah.
All of them are really important. Definitely. Play strong teams in all of them, and let's see where we're at in a couple of months, and then decide if we want to neglect the competition and put all our eggs in our basket. But right now, they're all open for us, and we need to be focusing on all three.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
And what was your score prediction?
2-0.
2-0.
Yeah, I said 1-1 for my one. I'm going to try and be as positive as I can for this game. 100%.
Okay. I'm going 1-1.
Going 1-1, right?
Okay. Fair. I can see that.
Fair enough. Yeah, fair enough. That's more predictable as well, in my opinion.
I just look at our recent record against Crystal Palace. It is. I think about Zaha versus Bellerin because we know that's coming. We know Rob Holding's going to start. He's just signed a new deal. We know Granit Xhaka is going to start in the midfield. We've got hope that Thomas Partey is back, but I think
I don't think he will be personally. It's the kind of he's more like Thomas Partey, in my opinion. Whoever you lot have got like in the weekend and that, save him for that game. Bringing him back too soon, in my opinion, literally, it's just going to worsen out the injury. That's just what I think. Even if you have like a
position, we have lost way too many games. He needs to risk it. Like every game is a final for him, really, right now, and that's why I think he took the chance against Tottenham because we were in a real rut, and he needed to look at his best player and say, "Listen, I need to take a chance because without him, I don't see us winning this game." And that's why I'm really, really looking forward to him starting tomorrow because I think that takes us to a kind of, I don't want to say Man City, Liverpool level, but it takes us far above the level that we're at right now, right? It's a new Arsenal if you add Thomas Partey into this team. So I really want us to start him tomorrow. And if there's still a little bit of a nibble or whatever, take him off at halftime, but at least put him on in the first half, dominate, score goals, win the game in the first half, and then we can relax in the second half and kind of settle behind the ball and let you guys come onto us and start playing on the counter attack. But in the first half, I want us to be the one that obviously scores, and Thomas Partey is going to be one of definitely the drivers of that. So he needs to start for me tomorrow. Yeah. Take the risk. I take the risk. He's been training for about 2 weeks. He's ready. He's ready.
I agree. I think Thomas Partey will probably be the difference between us winning or drawing or losing this game. I think if Thomas Partey starts in the midfield, we should dominate that midfield. If he doesn't, like I say, I'll worry about El Neni. El Neni's been very poor recently. Granit Xhaka hasn't been as bad, but he's still not great. And I really worry about that midfield. I think Crystal Palace will score first. I really do.
I hope not. I would lose all hope. First, I think we'll lose or draw.
I think Palace will score first. I don't know who will score, and then I've just got a sneaky feeling that Aubameyang will get an equaliser.
It's like the Southampton game. It's like that
game against Newcastle will give him a little bit of confidence. And I can see him scoring in this one, but I really do think this is going to be a tight game. But at the same time, it is also a game that we must win. We've got 2 games. Our next 2 games, you would argue, are easiest games out of our next 10. Our next 10 fixtures are mad. When you it's
Liverpool and that, and a few others.
These games, hands down. So that's how I see it. And like I say, I think it'll be. I think this game's got a draw written all over it.
Yeah, exactly. Judging on both teams have been this season in the recent fixtures. Realistically, so draws a fair result.
1-1 or a draw is too boring, man. I want something way more exciting tomorrow. I've been watching Arsenal. It's been way too boring. Even the last game we won 2-0. I mean, it took over 100 minutes to even get there, right? So I can't watch another 0-0 or boring game. I want a lot of attacking football. I want us to create chances. because ultimately we're developing our team for the Europa League, knockout stages, right? So we need to be playing like we're playing, for the Europa, because ultimately I still think we can make top six, in the Premier League. I think there's going to be much more surprises. If Arsenal can put the next 3-4 games, a winning streak in the next 3-4 games, I think we're back in that top half of the table, a couple of points away from, the bigger guys. And then the whole season is just, flipped around. I think first and second will be still way far ahead of us, but I think that there will be a group that's still left behind. And that's the group that I'm hoping Arsenal can catch in the next few months. And let's get it right. We still need to sign an attacking midfielder, regardless if we win the next 4 games. I really don't care. We still need to sign that midfielder. So I'm waiting for that to be done. It should have already been done. I'm kind of pissed off that it hasn't been done. It should have been done the first day the transfer window opened. That's how, badly and in necessity we need a midfielder. But we know how it is with Arsenal. We're going to get into the last week of the transfer window. They're going to say, oh, we're trying. It's hard. It's January, pandemic, all those excuses that they love to make. And then ultimately, let's see if we actually sign someone. Because if we don't, there's going to be some serious issues. Regardless if we win, I think that foot that went back into a neutral zone goes more out to Arteta out, regardless of if we're winning, because I'm not going to tolerate that. I'm sick
in my opinion, about the January transfer window, it's kind of covered the wrong time. Got the lockdown, the pandemic.
Excuses. We can go sign a 5 million player, man. We can bring back Guendouzi and Torreira. How do you expect to go into the second half of a season with Granit Xhaka, Thomas Partey, El Neni, Joe Willock? 3 of them bang average players, and if any of those guys get injured, we have no one in midfield, man. How do you go into? It just doesn't make sense. We have 10 defenders but 4 midfielders. Like, what do you like? It just doesn't make sense.
Look, in my opinion, if you don't offer that more money to a certain player as Arsenal, and they want to try and win stuff at Arsenal, they're not going to want to come to the club. That's the way I see it. You got teams like Chelsea, Man City, Liverpool. They're going to offer the same amount of money, but they're more likely to go to them clubs because they're more likely to winning something. Same with Crystal Palace.
If they're not able to, that's our angle. At least at Arsenal, we're a big club and we don't have a good enough team so you can actually start. Whereas you look at Donny van de Beek, who went to United for like 40, whatever, he doesn't even get into the team. I'm sure if you asked him, he'd tell you he'd love to be playing for Arsenal right now because he'd be starting.
That's a prime example of a pointless signing, whether it's in January or the summer. That's the problem.
Yeah, but United, look at their midfield. Sorry, Tristan. I think any position you buy for Arsenal right now makes us better. That's how bad and slim we are in our team.
Yeah, you missed out in badly, I'll be honest. Yeah. It's just one of the windows that you sign a player and he does well for like a couple months. He just disappears, and then a year later you loan him out or just sell him, or he goes on a free transfer or something. You get his contract terminated. That's the problem for clubs like Palace, even for you lot. Look at Dennis Suarez when he signed for you lot over a year ago. Didn't even feature hardly, just disappeared. Literally, that's what it can do, this transfer window.
Okay. So there we have it, guys. The Crystal Palace versus Arsenal preview. African Gooner's gone 2-0 to Arsenal. Tristan's gone 1-1. And I also think 1-1 as well. I'm going to wrap it up there. But guys, thank you for joining me on the channel today. It's much appreciated to both of you. And I'd love to get you on again, obviously.
I'm done. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Everybody in the chat, if you haven't already, please smash them likes up. And if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, go and subscribe to the channel. African Gooner, let them know your socials. Let them know where they can find you.
Cool. Yeah, so you can find me at Twitter on at African Gooner, and obviously I'll be on Brandon's channel quite a bit. I think my closing remarks is one, Brandon, keep doing a great job, building a great platform, and super proud of you for putting in the grind and developing your channel. It's starting to come together and look really, really good. So keep working hard at that. And then I guess to all the other Arsenal fans, a little bit of hope, as Arsenal love to give us at some times. It just needs to be consistent. I'm really hoping that we end up doing the business that we should have done in the summer in terms of buying that attacking midfielder. Brandon and I spoke about a Bissouma. I mean, really, if it comes down to it, I would be desperate enough to take him instead of a Cam this January. Ultimately, I do think we need an attacking midfielder this January and buy another defensive midfielder in the summer. So let's see what Arsenal does. Hopefully, Arteta can continue getting wins for us. And yeah, let's get that win tomorrow against Crystal Palace. And hopefully Zaha doesn't score against us, because that will really be a bummer for me. I just don't want that to happen.
Yeah, no, brilliant. Thank you very much for coming on, mate. I appreciate it as always.
Appreciate it.
Tristan.
Yeah. So make sure you lot go and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Tristan03. Should be in the link in the description below of this video as well. On the road to 1K, we are currently 5 subscribers away from 900 subs. Then we're going to be 100 away from 1K. So planning to hit 1K maybe by April time, maybe even May. You never know. Hopefully we can get it going quick. Check out my my Arsenal versus Crystal Palace preview as well on my YouTube channel, out today. Just released. Make sure you also follow me on my Instagram, Tristan03. That will be in the link in my description of my YouTube channel videos and that as well. Stay tuned. Very optimistic for tomorrow. As I said, it will be a 1-1 draw. Trying to be as positive as I can, even though we were poor in the FA Cup, but the players didn't care. And overall, I think the Palace players are going to be more focused and prepared for this game. Always step our game up against Arsenal. Just got to kick it off well, be on an absolute high from the start, score first, try and go for the second, and I think it will be our day. Fingers crossed. Come on, you Palace, do not let us down.
Brilliant. So there you go, guys. I'm going to wrap it up here. Like I said, if you haven't already, hit that like button. Go and check out Tristan's channel. Go and check out African Gooner. You'll see him on here on a regular, hopefully. You'll also find him on the Arsenal Lounge as well, so go and check that out. And I will be back for a match reaction to tomorrow's game, hopefully with a smile on my face, hopefully with 3 points for Arsenal. Come on, you Gunners.
Come on, you Palace.
Come on,